Welcome to my presentation about building a better digital ecosystem in the chemical industry. I was really hoping that we could have this session in Frankfurt in person. A few months ago, it was looking that this seemed to be possible, but I'm glad that at least the technology today allows us to do it in this digital format. So my agenda is talking about the challenges and trends in the chemical industry, supporting that with some survey information that we've collected, and then about how Elsevier is supporting you in addressing those. So those of you who attended CAX last year may have seen this slide from me, so talking about the trends and risks in the chemical industry, and all of them are of course known to you. So it's about the fluctuations in raw material prices, increasing globalization, increasing competition, the innovation that needs to speed up, compliance and sustainability, over increasing topics with more regulations and with more customer demands, and the new opportunities around digitization industry 4.0. Now, we were also wondering how the increasing topic circular economy is fitting in here, and also you see the risks, and so the question for us was also now what is really the part where we can help the chemical industry to make the difference and being successful in developing new products. So we set out to start a large survey in the chemical industry end of December, running for a couple of months, but then of course COVID-19 came. So before going into any of those results, I'll want to have a quick look to impact of COVID-19. And here I'm citing a study from PricewaterhouseCoopers, where they asked CFOs who had already answered that they will cut in investments, that those investments heavily affected will really be in the area of anything around the operations or the capital expenditure, and much lesser though the area of the parts around R&D, digital transformation, and environmental, social, and governance activities. So this gave us a very good lead that what we have asked in the past still stays. Well, past, we're talking here really a few months ago. So we have been asking people in the chemical industry, so what percentage of your products are manufactured according to the circular economy model, and gave them 4 quadrants. And the vast majority really answered it's in the last quadrant, so between 0 and 25%. So beginning 2020, they really said there isn't so much. The next question that we ask is, what will the situation be in 10 years? And here really the people said the majority suddenly found itself back in the third quadrant, so between the 50 and 75%. So this is a very good indicator that we're really not talking about a buzzword here anymore, or something where the happy future 2% in a company are working on for some window dressing, but there's really a belief that this is the trend. And also interesting, we were asking, so what are the biggest overall challenges facing the chemicals and materials industry today? So not just the circular economy, but overall in being successful. And here we see that amongst all those, also the risks we asked before, and adding a few, and also got a little others, it's the one that really stood out is the increasing regulatory and sustainability requirements. This of course has some overlap with the sustainability, so that there is a push from the authorities up in the governments to really move that way. But we also know, and this is probably more the second point, is that there's a need to respond quickly to the customer demands. So the accelerated innovation is absolutely important, also to stay ahead of the competition and to go with the time, so to say. Now, big hurdle in order to overcome the challenge to accelerate innovation is that people within a company need to really collaborate and also have access to information to make the product development decisions and move quickly. So you see here all these different departments accessing a lot of different content sources, but what it's really about is the challenges is the siloed functional groups across business units. The information is often decentralized, and I know there's good activities to centralize it, but it's often that people are looking at different sources, information doesn't add up. And also the decision making really takes time often because you need the different specialists. You have the reduced productivity and performance in the sense that maybe information is being looked up over and over again. So how can Elsevier support the chemical industry in accelerating innovation and staying ahead of the regulatory and sustainability related requirements? I hope all of you know Elsevier not just as a publisher. For those who just know it as a publisher, I'll just let you know. So Elsevier has really grown from its root in publishing into an information and analytics business specializing in science and health. And that's to take the chemical industry also in the broader sense. So it's academia and the corporate world. Quick side step, so the history of Elsevier, and I think this is really interesting because this is also something that many of your companies are undergoing, is in the move. So Elsevier, with hundreds of centuries background as a publisher, publishing books and then focusing on technical and academic channels, in order to provide users to read this content, has in the 90s already started to transform when it became more important to have your content searchable, to have databases that allow users to search this content. And this is where a lot has happened over the past year. But also in the very last years, you can see that it's now much more about understanding your customer. It's not just, hey, here's your content, do whatever with what you need to do with it. But it's really about that we provide the knowledge to you in such a way that you can act on this, so moving towards to do this. And in order to do so, you really need to understand what drives you, what drives the chemical industry. But before go into that, so we know that overall in all corporate areas where we work with, is professionals are faced with fundamental information challenges. So the one is the information overload. There is simply so much information, it's constantly growing. While there's the productivity challenge, so it's all getting more and more squeeze on doing more within limited time, and staying at the same performance or even improving. Now, and this all drives together with the new trends are there. So seeking where there could be chances for really spiking innovation, uncommon relationships. And this is where Elsevier has a background, success stories from pharma and oil and gas, not yet so much from the chemical industry, one of the reasons why I'm speaking to you today. So summarizing, what's the overall need across all the different industries? Have the right insights based on accurate, up-to-date and high quality content, and structured in easy to use formats. So Elsevier has these specialized solutions already. So really specialized to certain information needs that you have, and where you see all the different names, maybe one or the other sounds familiar. There's many more, like from Appendium or Geofacets. So specialized web-based solutions. And Elsevier, of course, has the broad multidisciplinary web-based solutions. So Elsevier's published content delivered to you in Science Direct, and with Scopus being one of the largest aggregator of scientific literature. But what's really the new one, what's coming up in the past years, is the new divisions specialized in machine readable content and data services. And this, so meaning that we can also deliver Elsevier content to you in APIs and via secure data transfers, or can be used with client hosted applications, so that your data scientists could also work with our context. And there's many opportunities there. So going back to really the chemical industry, and I've been working there myself for 7 years in analytical industry and analytical chemistry facilities. I really have seen all those different stages from the early research up to the production. And we know that in each of these stages, there is this different business needs where there is need for information in order to take the right decisions and to act fast. So you can see here, so in the first part, so when it's really about the idea generation, then you want to know about new opportunities, finding collaborators, tracking competition, moving more into the in-house research, where it's really about the innovative part of new chemistry, novel compounds, new synthesis routes. And then going into the scale up where it's all about whatever the new idea is it commercial feasible? Are the chemicals available? What does the regulatory landscape look like? What are my limitations? And also the new toxicology insights. What will be my limitations in the future? And to the into the operations where it's all about safety and improving the process and also staying ahead of anything bad that could happen. So this is where now I would like to introduce the Elsevier portfolio. It's really as an Elsevier ecosystem for the chemical industry. So where you can see that you have in this first phase, the technology landscape, viability and feasibility. You have the information needs around literature and scientific discoveries. So you want to know what's the established literature, what the novel discoveries are, what are the opinion leaders saying, and the leading institutions. So you can see that all with Scopus, Engineering Village, and the Science Direct, of course. The in-house chemistry is really helped with Reaxys, where you can you can see what's out there in the chemistry data for properties and reactions, the chemistry scientific literature and patents, and even already doing also some prediction of synthesis routes. With Chemtiva, we last year already were here and launched this year a new tool that helps you to bridge the gap when it comes to scaling up. So a new an efficient synthesis route is great, but it really depends on what raw materials are out there, what is easy to get, what is easy to ship. So this is where global trade information helps you. And what we see is already that this is not only for the sourcing people anymore, but we see more and more that R&D people are looking into this kind of information. The same for the regulatory and the toxicology content. Of course, you have your dedicated departments, but when the R&D person can already rule out one or the other candidate by seeing that there are severe regulatory limitations, you can already slim down your research and be much more targeted towards those candidates that are really having a chance. And we'll also have in the manufacturing part, novel that supports the engineers with handbooks and data for facility design and process optimization, best practices for operational safety, and also just finding the material properties under different conditions like engineers need this. And it's also interesting to see, it's of course, we understand you, it's a circle. It's not that you start at one point and end at some point, because all the innovation is typically happening from something that's already existing. And so you can also see with novel and being an engineering tool, Engineering Village. So the way you can see that if you start in novel, you might also want to switch to Engineering Village, where you then can see again the literature, and like this, we're closing the circle like you do in your daily process. And to just give you an example, so I already touched a bit on that. So you have all these different departments, the different experts working in their part. Often there is and this may also vary a lot depending on your specific company. It's much less regulated than we've seen. It's much less streamlined than what we know, for instance, from pharma, where you have very clear stages. So in every of your companies, it might look slightly different. But I know I've seen myself that, yeah, you have the R&D person, or you have the commercial team that really carries a project through the organization, collaborating with all the different departments, where you at some point then need to work with the R&D chemists, where you need to work with the toxicologist and the regulatory department, and where you need to get the information from sourcing. And so all these things take time, where you need also to be streamlined so that people can work well with each other. And so this is where we are providing you with the novel, with the Elsevier chemicals portfolio, the ability to start with having one set of sources with the dedicated interfaces, but where people really looking at the same content, and where you can really see that to get it all together, we're really covering what is needed, and making it much easier to review the same content. And especially so for an R&D person, for instance, or from somebody from the commercial team, already starting looking at some information, him or herself, and then maybe asking the expert to validate it. So this is the idea, that we can help you to mitigate risks, for instance, in regulatory constraints, to see already very early what's, let's say, a bad candidate, but then also to make decisions in the early phase of the product development to really speed up and accelerate your innovation. So with this, I would like to conclude my presentation. So we've been talking about top challenges for the developing the new product in the chemical industry. There is the top challenges that we've heard are the increasing regulatory and sustainability requirements, and the need to accelerate innovation to meet customer demands. Elsevier is here to help you by giving you access to multiple information sources, specifically for the chemical industry. And ultimately, it's all about having the right information with the right people at the right time to confidently make the well-informed decisions and to speed up your decision-making process. So by now, I'm happy to take any of your questions. My colleague Cyan will be here with me. And if not now, we're also happy to meet you in the chat room later. Thank you for now.